Garfield, Zendaya, which ironically, this film's coming out a week before that Spider-Man movie comes out, and all three of them actors are going to be in that film, right? Yeah, that you have Hathaway, Anne Hathaway. I mean, fuck. Like,
the one that played Batman, what's his name?
oh yeah,
From Twilight, I forgot his name. The Twilight boy, Batman.
oh shit, they have him in here. Yeah.
What's his name?
He like the main son.
The vampire guy, yeah. Corporate, so do you think maybe they overcast too many big names? You know, when they do that with movies and then they crash because there's just too many famous people in it, you know?
I don't think it mattered. I don't think it mattered in this movie. I think that they scaled back on the role of the gods in the movie and their influence on his journey back towards Ithaca. But yeah, they really scaled back on the role of the gods because like Poseidon definitely tried to kill him a lot throughout the book. It was very ambiguous, the role of the gods within the movie. So,
How did you like it?
I mean, it was okay.
Are you a no
I have to see it again for somebody. Well, I don't know if I've seen enough Christopher Nolan. What movies did he have? I may not even seen them.
He did the Batman trilogy. He did
Inception.
oh yeah, that was a really good.
Interstellar.
I ain't seen none of them.
Oh no, Inception. I will say
Okay, so
Inception was
I've
good.
heard all of those are good, but I haven't seen any of those.
Okay.
He did Tenet.
I will say this though, his Inception movie was a copy of an anime though. I will say that. But,
What do you think about the adaptation of that versus the anime?
well, that's what I'm saying. If it was a complete adaptation, that's one thing. But he completely, I won't say plagiarized, but when there's two films, it was one series it was a Big O that had that same concept from 1999. That Paprika, I think is what it was called. It almost seemed like he took scene from scene, the exact same idea, I would say. But I mean, but regardless of the fact though, it still was really good. The concept was still really, the way the cinematography was good. Yeah, I think his concept, especially with the Dark Knight trilogy that he did, which was kind of different. Definitely I would say Inception was one of the best trilogies you could ever watch, I think. So I would say if you're comparing a filmographer or a director or producer, right, he's definitely way ahead and shoulders better than someone like Zack Snyder or somebody like
This white. She shouldn't be reincarnated as black. Not actually her, but all the Disney movies.
Crazy times, guys. Crazy times.
Did you ever watch the movie? That was not Achilles.
Alright, so who is Elliot?
It wasn't Achilles, it was another character, but it's transgender.
It was not the original Iliad or the Odyssey, but it was in the later version.
Achilles is in the Iliad, not the Odyssey.
No, I know, but Synod was in the Aeneid, which was much later, when they retold the story. But anyway, they took that character, but that was not Achilles at all, so I don't know what everyone's riled up about. Okay, well, Jeff, you're playing nuanced games.
Well,
Anyways, Elliot Page is a transgender, and they made her a fucking
Yes.
Greek warrior.
Yeah, that wasn't Achilles, no. Right.
It was not Achilles. Achilles was like,
No, Greek warrior. Okay.
Yeah, we don't care. It's not Achilles. But just the fact that they made that character that person, what do you think of that, Jeff? What do you think about that?
I don't really care.
Okay.
You should be disgusted and think it's disrespectful.
wait, really? Why?
Because, bro, in what world was a Greek warrior a woman that was born a woman? Well, actually, remember in the underworld, right, where they're talking to the dead, and Cersei said she's talking to Odysseus, who's like this blind, like, foreseer who tells the future. From my my understanding, there are certain interpretations where Tiresias was actually not a man or a woman, but like switched between them. So it's not like the Greeks didn't know about shit like this, you know?
If I have 200
Tiresias, who is in the movie.
I forgot they went that
freak out about this as like 21st century white people are, you know? Or black people.
You know, it's better than actually going to the movies.
Jeff, that's the reason why, because most people have not read and
A
or
book.
understood that there's multiple.
Oh, yeah. It's been told so many times. So many interpretations.
But,
Yeah.
okay, Jeff, but see, but watch this though, right? But they'll be okay with this, but then they'll watch series like Shogun, right? And they'll watch Braveheart. You don't understand, right? Well, it's specifically like with Shogun, right? It was, that was based off of a book about the things that were going on politically in Japan, with the damn Catholics coming up in there and doing a full reformation of their country. But the scenes that happened in that book are all pure fictional, right? And there's certain things in the book that was not put in the actual 10-episode series. Same thing with Braveheart. There were certain scenes and certain historical inaccuracies, but nobody talks about that, and people just praise the film and shit. It was a really good film, but at the same time, there were some historical inaccuracies from the standpoint of certain battles and shit.
What is it? Is it a history book or something? It's a fictionalized dramatic movie, you dumb motherfucker. Doesn't gotta be accurate, and you ain't gotta articulate or ejaculate. All you gotta know is the truth of the earth, and you're like a child sitting here talking about movies like a little fucking child. Cocksucker like me can complain. That's what a cocksucker does. Cocksucker complain about cocksuckers just talking about the fucking the moon, picking their toes and picking. You know all about movies. You on the?
No, I'm not saying I suck cock.
Riabia knows all about movies. He had to get the bus cam footage from these young girls he molested on the bus. He's like his own director on the bus with little girls that he abuses.
Peter, if you watch the movie, what you think of Peter? How do you feel about it?
Woman has hidden of true racist. I don't have any idea what that story is. I was just paying attention to your discussion because I don't have any idea what this is. I have more focus on the war right now. Allah is being fucked and I am truly exiled.
Peter, what app are you on right now? What's the name of the app that you're on?
That's, I'm not comfortable with sharing this.
You're not sure of it?
What? Oh shit. Can we get a translator?
Because he thinks that he wants to...
Corporate, what is he saying, corporate? Please help us.
Don't know what...
New York Strip on a
I heard that you were uncomfortable.
We are uncomfortable too, so what we gonna do about this,
Who
man?
is
Help.
we? Who is we in this?
Help, man. Help.
Peter, is this movie just peanuts and circus for the American population as we decimate Iran and take us into World War III, Dr. Peter?
Well, it's something that you want, right? You Alistair Crowley, worshiping ass motherfucker.
Listen, if you want to talk about movies, Riabia here is his own bus director. He makes bus films with young girls.
John, is Iran over a woman this war? Is it over a woman? I don't know.
A woman?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to say Israel is a woman, but I like to think Israel is trans, not necessarily a woman per se. Well, anyways, I'm just saying it's bread and circus and peanuts for the retards, and here you all are.
And you're the same person that worked in the CIA that orchestrated
As an Iranian, just for...
But man, I got a question for you, man. I got a question for you, man.
Motherfuck Palestine.
What?
If Mullah is down, then Palestine is
shut your bitch ass up, nigga.
Alright, what's
You
your
know that
question?
shit that you
So my question, I'm gonna speak over this guy. I don't think this dude's brains work. So my question is, right? What scene? I'm gonna have to regurgitate a scene, right? Because you were talking about a woman. Are they fighting over a woman? Kill me over a woman. A woman. What movie is that from?
Wait, what? It was a quote you just said or what?
Yeah, as a quote. By,
Idiot.
all right, you kill me a woman. A woman. You must be insane.
Oh, dude.
Oh wow.
What is it? What do you got? That guy?
There you go. Well, which
I
Batman?
thought
Which
it
Batman?
was familiar, but I wasn't too sure.
Which Batman?
Second one.
I got you on that. It's close enough. It's the first one with Jack Nicholson. Yeah, before when he turned into the Joker and killed the motherfucker and try to off him.
Char, did you see the movie yet?
I'm gonna go see it in IMAX next week.
Has it came out yet? Odyssey.
Yeah, it's out right now, yeah.
Oh shit, I'm about to go watch that.
Yeah.
It's got all the A-listers in there.
Yeah, what do you make of the casting? Any controversy in your mind or no?
Well, if you want to be controversial, you know, this is how you do it. Because not only did they put a black woman as the Queen Helen, they picked the blackest of women. So, there's that. But, I will say this. I don't think white people should be alarmed because we had to watch that horrendous take of the Egyptian gods, the gods of Egypt. Are we serious? White people. Ain't nothing Egyptian about y'all. Y'all had a tan and made a whole movie and thought y'all was Egyptian gods. And that's just one of the many atrocities y'all put on a TV screen. So, I will say, I'm not for a complete erasure of, you know, I think Angelina Jolie would have been a good choice. She's a bit old. We need a fair-skinned white woman to be in that role. But it is what it is. I think fair is fair. Y'all had y'all's good bit of whitewashing, so this is okay.
I think it should have been whitewashed because everyone in that time period was white, not black. So to hire, you know,
They
to
were
have
olive.
that. Who's that? No, but bro, who is that bitch to complain she didn't get enough screen time? The African woman?
Whoa, why she gotta be a B word?
Because she was acting like a bitch. Honestly.
Talking about Lupita Nyong'o.
Why was she
Yeah.
Now listen, screen time?
I don't know if she's a bitch in general, but she was acting like a bitch when she said that.
Oh, well, maybe that's her sentiment. Maybe she wanted more screen time.
Well, I mean, too bad.
Will she not want more money?
Bro, I mean, look, why
So
should
if
she get more
you was in an
What's
A-list
the
movie like
original?
that, would you not want more money? What's the problem?
I will keep my mouth shut. That'd be great.
Okay then. So ain't we all complaining in America?
Appropriations.
Of course you can complain in America. but
Okay
like,
then. So why can't she complain in this instance?
I mean, can we all get mad in America?
You see what I'm saying? It's a circle.
Hey, Mr. Shea, I got you. You know what's funny? Okay, watch this, right? Now, I mean, I believe that everybody that's in that movie based off of the pottery and the actual figurines, I mean, they all look like a bunch of Negroes in certain historical books. But if you want to bypass that, I'll PTR the book that I'm talking about. And there's other books.
Please, no, drop the book. What book?
Oh yeah, I know. I'm dropping like
had niggas on there.
yeah. I'll drop 3 or 4 books, but
Not a single Odyssey depiction I seen.
yeah, no, watch this.
Odyssey is not one of them. I think it's Cyclops.
Okay, watch this. So, right, how come these guys are complaining about this, right? Why? So, I'm pretty sure everybody watched the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Watched the Avengers. Where are these same people at? This is just, critical thinking, right? People just like to be mad about everything, right? Doesn't matter if it's black or white. They always cry about something, right? In this country. So let's deal with this. So, Black Widow, right? What region and what race is Black Widow? Which, I mean, she's Caucasian, but where is she from?
She's from Russia.
Not real.
She's Russian.
She's Russian, right? So how come they casted oh girl, man, fucking
Are you talking about
Scarlett
what's her name?
Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson, right?
The white
So
woman.
let's deal with that. She's a white woman, everything, right? Cool.
With some ass. Well, she had ass in the first.
Well, she was a looker for a couple of years.
Progressively lost it by Infinity War. She was cooked.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she started getting cooked in her mid-30s. I don't know what the fuck she did to herself, but look, she has no Russian accent like she has in the comics, and she herself isn't Russian. Where's the uproar?
I don't have
That's not how
to
the
tell you
role
why.
rolls.
If you want me to
And
answer.
so if you follow the comics, in the comics she started off as a Russian spy. Then she got brought over to the US, so she learned English. And also when it comes to spies learn multiple languages all the time. So it still fits
But
in
in the
there.
comic, but throughout the comics that I've read, right, and I'm talking about like the 2000s, late 2010s,
Yeah.
even in the 90s, she still had the Russian accent. They even, they put the, the punctuations of the Russian accent here.
I'll tell you why, because it's too much of a trend where black people are getting all this dick sucking, and this is a clear example.
I think you're doing a lot of black people.
Wait, no.
I don't know how you put in black people in this conversation.
Bro.
Yeah, this is funny as fuck.
Yeah, this is a lot of.
Alright, let me make it more. I'm sorry for being aggressive. Because, first of all, they look alike. If I looked at her, I wouldn't know she wasn't Russian. If I look at the other one, I know she was not the same as the other one she's playing. Right? Does that make some sense, at least a little bit?
Wait, say it again. Say the last part.
Like, you don't know she's not Russian, she's a white, but this one is a black.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And look, I don't have no problem, I'm not no racist at all. Like, I
don't want to see a black Captain America. To be honest with you, I think the new one, technically, based off the comics, the first Captain America was black. I decided, so the narrative is fair, but let's just say this. Let's just say Steve Rogers in the context of Captain America, let's say the main Captain America we talk about was black. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be like, why is the source material being infringed like this? That's like Black Panther being white. I'd be a little bit upset. You know what I'm saying?
But watch this though, Mr. Shea. Watch this though. I know I get that part because now people shouldn't complain about Falcon being Captain America because they did it 12, 15 years ago. They even did it with Bucky.
Yeah.
They even did it with Bucky being taking on the mantle. That's just
that was fake outrage.
Yeah, that's fake outrage. Now I will say this. I mean, if we were talking about, let's say if it was 20 years ago, let's say if it was in the 90s and they pulled something like that, from what I'm seeing, I don't think people would have really complained as much as we're seeing nowadays because once again people complain about everything. But let's deal with something, right? Let's deal with this aspect. Tim Burton produced two very good Batman films, right? Little do people know, the third and fourth film, if he would have stayed on, right? And of course the one faggot director that came in, changed the whole fucking, pretty much destroyed that movie franchise, but that's another story for another day. And he would have stayed on, he said that he was going to make Robin black. So I wonder how much of this shit is this complaining, that's going on right now. How much would have people really complain back then? You know what I'm saying? Like, because because then they're talking about the race swaps now. Race swap versus historical actors. This a whole different thing because we're dealing with fictional characters. They've been doing race swaps since the 60s. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is like, how much of this shit is really just a bunch of fucking online people crying and shit, and really just crying over nothing.
Well, I'll say this. As a person, because I used to work in a movie theater back in high school, and so going to movie theaters still is near and dear to my heart. And if AI takes them out, I will burn America to its socks. I'm gonna say this. When it comes to flicks, and I like accuracy. I really do. And when it comes to Marvel specifically in this conversation, I fucks with Marvel, man. And I think keeping as close as we can to the original source material is something that I think who made the Marvel what's his name? The white man who did all the
Stan Lee, is that Stan Lee?
Yeah, Stan Lee. I think it would do a disservice to what he was putting out because as a black person, what a lot of people don't best characters in Marvel Comics is black. Yeah, Stanley created his name is Blue Marvel. Look it up. One of those
He didn't create Blue Marvel.
Well, either way, he's in
Blue
it.
Marvel.
He didn't make it Blue Marvel.
No, Marvel came in the '70s. It was a little black dude that created it. His name is he was, I've seen him in a couple of interviews. I don't forget his name, man.
A lot of them characters he didn't come up with. Somebody else came up with them. Like
Okay, so fair, but the universe itself, like the concepts, and this is still source material. Like this is like the names I'm giving out.
He didn't come up with. Yeah, it came up with the X-Men.
Just like Star Wars, is the same thing.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But let's. But yeah, I will say this, brother. Like, Stan Lee created majority of the like the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the original 6 X-Men members, right? Which is Marvel Girl, Jean Grey.
Fantastic Four, my man.
So you also have the Hulk and all that. So you had those characters that he came up with. But later on, like a lot of these characters like Venom and a lot of these other characters that we saw, like he didn't specifically create those characters. He stopped writing for Marvel in the '70s, but they still gave him like royalties and credit for certain things. So like, for someone like Wolverine or Storm or fucking Colossus or
Storm,
he didn't create none of those characters. He didn't create Rogue. He didn't create none of those guys.
I was gonna say the boy who created Spawn, he the one that created Venom and shit.
Yeah, they took his idea.
Well, let me lean with this. So to Char, you have a point, but still, like it still started with him, and it is still a lot of the people that laid out are still part of the Marvel lexicon. I'll say this. I think white people in the concern of whitewashing or black people taking substituting certain, like for instance Ariel in Disney. I thought that was, I mean, I grew up seeing a white Ariel, so I thought they would cast a white Ariel. It was a little bit odd, but here's the thing though. Her being black doesn't do anything to the original context of the storyline as it stands. Like, let's be very clear. The Little Mermaid is a fictional story. So you could put it, she could be Asian. It means nothing. When we talk about like, well, that's a little bit unfair because Marvel's fiction. I'm a land. Look, Matt, I'm gonna say this. I get y'all's concern, but I also don't get it at the same time.
But I mean, I find this actually like horribly offensive, and the reason being this, like, okay, Helen of Troy, they have to do with Greek mythology, but you have one of the oldest European civilizations, and no, like some, we don't have to see some ape-like looking bitch be one of our fucking people.
See, this is where we gotta be a little bit.
No.
We gotta do that. Why she gotta be? We gotta look at you, Pepe.
Well, like
you look like a chicken nugget.
Disgusting.
You look like a.
You should have a beautiful fucking white woman.
You look like a chicken nugget.
Hold on, you should have like a beautiful, Mediterranean-looking white woman playing fucking Helen of Troy. Okay,
This is a racist.
You could have gone with maybe like somebody who's near Eastern.
Maybe they should put you up there, Pepe. Put you in a dress and make you the Helen of Troy.
So, we could have gone.
We should advocate for you to go up there and do some acting.
We could have gone with a Near Eastern looking woman, maybe a more Germanic looking woman. That's a little bit pushing it. But the fact that we have to get some ugly black bitch as the play, like the Helen of Troy, is fucking offensive. Our cultures are not the same. We created civilizations that your people never fucking could have. And quite frankly, we can look at this.
You're not a fucking child. What they do? What the people do? What's Curse of Queen history? What the fuck they do? Besides take on the mantle of being white that Protestant European Anglo-Saxons did. What's the Curse of Queen? What's y'all's history?
Can we not get into that because?
Well, I mean, so hold up, relax.
Corsican
Relax.
hold
on. So go. So here's the thing.
The most powerful man that ruled the fucking
we were having
world for
a shield dialogue.
literally Napoleon. If we look at the Napoleon
on his laws.
You think that was a chill dialogue?
No, he made it unchill. No, he made it unchill with that kid. Why she gotta be an ape? Like, why she can't just, you know what I'm saying?
Because compared to a Greek woman, black women are
Okay, Pepe, that's your fucking opinion, bro.
See,
Some people like
why
black.
you gotta do that?
Y'all know he gotta center himself when he come in every fucking.
Yeah, cursing coin history.
Pepe, do you know
That's why they don't want me. That's why they don't want me in here anymore. They know I'll take over the room.
Yeah, cause
These
you was
faggots
fucking.
are
you're doing it right now.
You know that, Matt.
Little Fry.
Matt and Beaver were little white America babies. Now they're using titles like I used to use. I think it's cute.
We miss the old days of when
Pepe, and honestly, bro, you're just a boxer. You're just a boxer. You don't practice any other fighting style. So why are you so confident?
Wait, Pepe, you box?
Confident. I used to. Confident in what? You have to be a boxer to make a claim about civilization.
So you ain't with no ass.
That you say is so crazy, and I'm wondering why you feel you can say that so nonchalant.
Why can't I say it?
Because you get your ass kicked in real life.
You're gonna kick my ass.
I'm not
You're gonna kick my ass tonight.
Go, I'm
I'm
fucking go.
just.
You're gonna kick my ass tonight.
No, I'm not gonna kick your ass. I'm just saying. Do you say this shit in real life?
No,
I mean, I don't go out of
They
my
say you
way.
kick your ass, B-boy.
Do I go out of my way? Like, if somebody's walking with their wife and I say, wow, your wife is fucking hideous. No, I'm not gonna say that. That's rude.
But I'm saying, Pepe, this conversation was in real life. You would not come through like the way you did and say, oh, this black.
If I knew them, I mean, you have to know your audience.
But you don't know
Pepe, you're not
anybody.
doing that.
It's okay, bro. It's
Am
all
I gonna go up to a random black person and compare? You're asking me if I'm gonna go
You're
up
not
to a
built like
random.
that to do it.
I won't even talk.
As friends,
Okay, I won't
You
even
are brand. You a Christian man.
Sure, but I won't even cuss in front of of people I don't know, because I
I'm
don't
just
know how
wondering,
they
so why do you do that here? Like, what is the point of you
Because
coming
it's
in
the
like
fucking truth. And no, you guys are so polite on here. Oh my god.
It's not the truth,
Oh my
it's your
God.
opinion, and you can hold back your opinion for 1 second.
No, stop asking them questions, please. Let's keep the conversation going that we was having.
All right.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, even, whatever. We all have
Hey, Matt, thank you for letting me have a chance to talk about Marvel history. I appreciate it because I really get deep into it.
I'm not a big movie buff, so just catching up like that's pretty good too. I like that too, Anybody else seen the movie, first of all? Who out there has seen it? Mother, have you seen it at all or no?
It's called
I haven't seen it, but I wanted to comment on the topic at some point.
Go ahead. You're up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, the way I kind of was thinking about it, people were throwing, I don't know if you guys watch House of Dragons, and people were throwing a tantrum because one of the families is a black family or whatever. And then people just got over it. They talked about that for like a solid 5 days, and then nobody cares, and they're watching black people on dragons and not giving a fuck, right? I think with the Helen of Troy situation, right, it's different because we all know the society is super anti-black, very, very racist society. So putting a black woman in that context is a little bit strange, and it's almost ignores the reality of the anti-blackness and racism of that period, and almost devalues her as an actress, because really she should have denied this role and found a better role for herself that didn't humiliate her, given the historical context. I mean, at some point, people have said she did a good job or whatever, but I think it's a weird way to play it. I would never have accepted that role, but
That's an interesting point. So by empowering her in this way, is it an insult to the time period of that period?
it's an insult. It's actually an insult to her.
Yeah,
As a black people in general. I mean,
that's not true.
So wait, so how is it an insult to her?
That don't make sense. It was black rulers and shit back then. What are you talking about?
No, there was not. No, there wasn't.
Helen of Troy, Helen of Troy that society that she's representing was not one of those. Was not one of those.
Well, the movie is about that
So
society, but-
guys, you gotta understand. So, Mother, I think I agree with you to some extent because here's the thing: this movie is based off of Greek mythology. Now, all the while it's a myth, still I can understand there's a historical appreciation given the context and source material in which it was given. Greeks, yes, we can talk about the congregation
So why the fuck is she black? Exactly, I agree with you.
I mean,
Nobody can answer it though.
It could be the what do y'all call it? The liberal stuff. Who knows?
Exactly, that is what it is. Yeah, good answer.
Good answer.
I mean, I think if we were to say that, like at least on the conservative side, we would get blasted out of this room for saying that was the angle. You guys realize that, right?
No, Matt, you would never get blasted out of your own room.
Well, not my own room. I'm about in other rooms. We go, you know what other rooms I'm talking about. If I were to go up on stage and go, oh, this is a progressive angle, they would just go like crazy, like really crazy.
Yeah, probably kick you the fuck out, man.
Yeah, they would. Like, within a minute.
You want to know why she's black? Is because exactly what's going on here. It's driving people box office.
Yep.
Because of the controversy.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a good point.
The left cares. There's no controversy on the left, right?
Wait, I want to interject.
Right-wing fabrication. You guys are so easy to bait.
This I actually partially agree with that. I don't think anyone on the left cares. They're just watching
Charlie,
the
you're really saying, like, if I were to go on stage and go, God, this is such a progressive kind of way of doing things, this casting of this lady, you don't think I'm gonna get some shit for it, or what, Darl? What do you got there?
I think people who criticize the skin color of characters in movies need to find other hobbies, because that's fucking loserish behavior.
Joe, why the fuck should we sit down and like just think it's cool to have somebody playing an important character that doesn't look or act or isn't the same race?
I partially agree.
When you make a movie go, you can decide the skin tones of the characters in your movie. I think we should leave it up to the producers and the artists to come up with the story they want to tell.
Okay,
No.
would you want, Darl, would you want MLK played by a white person?
Fucking or less, genuinely.
Wow.
The movie,
That's
you guys
a
are talking
real
about
life.
Greeks not being black. Bitch, the Greeks didn't speak English. So go watch the movie in whatever fucking language you're speaking.
I like that. I like that.
The Zulus, okay, the Zulus
I like that.
speak Ebonics.
I like that too, Joe.
But obviously, you guys would have a problem if you had my white ass playing a fucking Zulu warrior. And you should. Because my flat white ass, my flat, like, small white man bum would not be looking, when I'm wearing a loincloth and be sunburned, it would not look like an authentic Zulu fighting off the British. It would not. It's an abomination to have a cracker like me play one of these African warriors. And one of
Yeah, it would definitely be an abomination to have a cracker like
These
that.
little warriors,
That's playing.
But I thought you was Mexican and French,
fictional
though.
characters.
I thought you was Mexican and French, Pepe.
That was still making
I'm
half
not
crackers.
Mexican. Everybody likes to call me Mexican, so I go with it.
Mexicans
Call me
be
Mexican.
racist.
Okay, watch. Okay, but here's the thing, though, right? Watch this, though, right? Let's play that angle on that game, right? Or let's just use that talking point, right? How come? Okay, it's like this, right? You can say that and whatnot and have that belief, right? But here's the thing, though. Like, whenever you talk about the Zulus, you talk about the Egyptians and whatnot. That's who the motherfuckers used to be, right? How come in every fucking Egyptian movie, like Egyptian of the Gods with the dude that played Batman, back in the Christopher Nolan films, right? How come we see them all depicted as white, right? But then here it is like it's the ancient Egyptians.
Oh yeah,
Because Batman is white.
Almost all of the. So there were some the Nubians. It depends on which parts of Egypt, but most of the dynasties, they were. I'm saying genetically, this is pre-Arab, contact with the Arabs. They were far more. They were basically the same group as Europeans, but split off.
That's not what the pictogram show. That's not what the
They were far more similar to Europeans. Africa is a huge continent. When you look at a globe, it doesn't really show proportionally how big it is, but you can stuff fucking like the length from the eastern edge of Europe all the way to the western edge of to where Japan is. Africa can fucking devour that. That is a huge continent, and so in the northern part, you had people that were not black. I don't know how else to put this. It's a huge, just like how on the Eurasian continent you have white people on one end, you have Middle Eastern people kind of in the middle, you have Indians a little bit further east, and you have Chinese people. we are all different, okay? But kind of like in Africa, you have this huge fucking continent, and yet you have the people at the top that are not black. For whatever reason, there's some black people that are offended by that, but that is the reality.
Listen, let me say this right.
Real
Now, do I think
quick.
that?
Wait, Pepe, how is that the reality? Who's at the top that's white in Africa? Isn't the president black? Isn't, like, the whole government mostly black?
If you look at Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, these are, today they're Arabized. I mean, they're what you would call Middle Eastern people.
You got a lot of Muslims there, yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, man. Look. At the end of the day,
I'll go ahead, G.
when you look at real quick, I just wanted to, and you can go ahead. When you deal with the actual depictions of them, and I don't care about none of this DNA genetic aspect, because when it comes to actual bloodline and lineages, it's going to tell you 25, 35 fucking different things, right? And the ancients dealt with the bloodline of the patriarch bloodline, right? Which is dealing with the father's seed line. But regardless of that fact, when I look at the pictograms and the hieroglyphs, right? And they even show this in that fucking Alexander movie, right? That they understand that the motherfuckers were called black ass Africans. They look no different than the Watusis, the Zulus, the Nilotic people, like the Sudanese, and so on and so forth, right? The Dinka. That's who they look like, right? Or that's who they look like. They don't look anything like this concept of the Indo-European.
You're talking about the Nubians, though. The Nubians were only in a part of Egypt's a huge.
The Nile River. Yeah, but they're right. They're right
Go
next
down
to
to
each
the
other.
Nile River, and you can look. You get into even Central Africa. So yes, there were people crossing through along. That's like the one part of the African continent where you can traverse from North Africa through Sub-Saharan Africa, and that is the Nile. Because for the rest of it, you literally had hundreds of miles of fucking desert, which that was nearly impossible to pass unless you had a water source. And of course, waters don't live on. I mean, animals to hunt don't live on sand. Vegetation doesn't grow on sand, so you would die trying to cross it. But along the Nile, you could. And so, yes, you absolutely had people that you would consider black that were part of the different dynasties. But the reality is, though, for the majority of Egypt's history, the large dynasties there, especially in the north, they were not black. This isn't me. Like, and I'm not saying that they were white either. They're kind of similar to how Middle Easterners are separate from whites, but we have shared lineage. They are.
The only white dynasty that I know of, right? The only ones that were white, and this is where most people get their talking points from in the images is from the time of the Ptolemaic dynasty, right? Of the four, because Ptolemy Soter, who was given Soter the first, who was given that land allotment of the four kings, the four generals of Alexander when they conquered that area. So during that time, you could say that those were Caucasians that took over that specific part of Egypt, and through that dynasty was the Ptolemaic dynasty. I have a book on that, where their dynasty was nothing but white Egyptians. And of course Cleopatra, she was a mixed breed.
She was Macedonian.
Yeah, honestly, sorry, no disrespect. How do you know only one type of white dynasty? This is
because I'm
A million is crazy.
I'm going.
But if you look at, I know you're not into the genetic thing, but I'd say you can look at like King Tut's tomb, and I don't see a belt.
I mean, Cleopatra wasn't half white, so I will give you that part.
But I can say that, like, when it comes to genetics, so there's old haplogroups that you see amongst them. I believe it's a Q. It's a very old one that few people have. There's a few people in Europe that have it, like the Basque and the Sardinians, and then you have people in North Africa, and So, in other words, they are. Look, we're all distantly related to each other, but I'm trying to think how to put this. So we did not see any substantial sub-Saharan African lineage amongst, especially in Alexandria, of all of the remains that were found. You also have to understand that this was the Mediterranean basin where people could go from Europe, Levant. So people would come to the Levant from Western Asia. They would end up, trading,
Africa as well.
traveling. People from Europe would do the same, and people from other parts of North Africa. So there was so much trading and all of this shit going on. Like most of the carbon dated remains show that these people were basically similar to what you see with Southern Europeans and Western Asians. I mean, these were people that were definitely not black. I wouldn't call them white, but they were not black.
It is 2026, and if you practice mindfulness, you are in the now moment, as opposed to the history hypnosis stupidity lesson that you are all listening to at the present moment. If you want to practice mindfulness, you'll know to just go with the flow. Stop with your history hypnosis bullshit. It's a waste of time. Nobody cares. And if you are going to go see the Matt Damon movie, go to the gym, read a book, do anything for your life than consume the bullshit media. And it's just like Clubhouse. A lot of the people on here are spamming you with stupid shit. Hello?
Go read a book. Go read a book.
You know what's crazy? I just don't understand how we get here because Pepe can't conceive the idea of a black woman playing this role in 2026. Now,
appropriation.
Well, I get that. I get that.
help you. I'm gonna tell you why.
But at the very basis of it,
Can I go? That's something
I'll go out there.
Activism. That's at the end of the day.
Okay.
This is activism.
So, Pepe, I gotta go back.
I'll let Pepe.
Let me real quick.
No, it's not. No, it's not, bro.
Wait, brother Philly, hold on. So real quick. Right, so when you went internationally, they got a bunch of racist backlash in China and the Philippines, and it tanked overseas. So like most of the American public is usually relatively okay with these type of castings. Stop it, Pepe, stop it. Let me finish my statement, all right? No, I'm almost done. I promise. I'm almost done. So the second thing I was going to say, I was actually looking into it. Apparently, this is not the first time a black woman has been cast as Helen of Troy in a movie. Apparently, there was a 1950 version of it in Paris that had a black female as the main star playing Helen of Troy. And the other thing I was going to say was, they're just playing the statistics of the country, right? Like, the country's getting more diverse, and the American audience doesn't really care, except for some anti-black people that are dying, slowly dying.
No, that's not true. That's why
They are not. They are no.
Don't lie. So all Europeans are a mix of three things: Western hunter-gatherer, Pontiac steppe, and Anatolian farmer. That's all Europeans. Africa, like literally from Ethiopia to like Sudan, there's a bigger difference than.
This movie only reinforces structural white racism and colonial settler capitalism.
One of the things, so you touched on the little mermaid. Now, we can draw the parallels between, so Helen of Troy is part of Greek mythology. So in other words, this is not a person we can actually point to in reality. However, it was a person that was Greek. Now,
Salt wife. But wait, okay, so before we get to that, I think I gave you the answer.
Where's the part about the electrical bugs? I didn't hear that this time. Also, I heard a big
whoosh, which sounds like a transition or an edit. That was right. El Normo, you can go fucking watch the whole goddamn interview. Quiet. You can go watch it on YouTube. Quiet.
Y'all fighting over it.
Nobody's fighting. I just want to hear what he says.
Hold on, let me go on mute so I can get to it. Hold on.
Okay. I mean, in his first administration, the director of the FBI tried to blackmail him. And got fired for it. And then an agent said that he had an insurance policy on Trump.
That's constitutional law here, but I don't want to continue to have debate about this, but I believe he had the most electoral votes. So he won the election. Who won the 2020 election?
Wait, stop right there. So his answer is that Biden had... Hold on, wait.
Right, with the committee.
So he's saying that Biden had the most electoral votes, correct?
And I believe he had the most electoral votes.
And who was the he in that sentence? What's that? I can't hear you.
He doesn't specify. Is anything that I just said not up?
Yes, you're not being up. Well, that's an answer. So it depends on who had the most electoral votes. I assume that he means Biden, because Biden did have the most electoral votes.
In a deposition like this, you can't assume it.
Well, sure you can. Who had the most electoral votes? Sure. It's either, there's only two candidates. It was either
and they're
Trump
both
or Biden.
And they're both a he, right?
Yeah.
They're both a he.
Yeah.
So how does that
But
justify?
the question is, what does he mean? Now, does anybody know?
That's why they questioned him again and said who won the 2020 election.
And he said he had the most electoral votes, so presumably it's Biden.
No, you don't presume.
Why not?
When you're answering a question, you don't just presume. You have to specify.
I'm not saying that we do. I'm saying that factually it's clear that he means Biden.
No, it's not.
Well, but Biden did have the most electoral votes.
He might think that Trump had the most electoral votes.
But Trump didn't. But Trump didn't.
Come on, Jeremy. Jeremy, come on. He met the guy who didn't blow Bubba. Had the most votes. That's who it was.
Bubba is.
But Trump, I believe he did. Trump did.
Right. I think that's why I think there's something missing from the thing.
Yeah, it's all coming up.
All right.
El Normo, who won the 2020 election?
Right?
See how easy that is? How can he just say that and specify?
Because he chose not to. He's not me. I don't write his lines.
I know you're a bigger asshole.
He writes his own lines.
Hello, excuse me, moderators. This is progressive. I would like to address the room title.
Of course. Well, I think that's why I said something seems to be edited.
It's not edited. That's what he said. He said, I'm not going to play.
It's not clear. There's something is wrong.
I'm not going to play this with you. I'm not going to do this.
Well, you would lose. If you played it, you would lose.
Norm, easy solution. Go online, get a transcript.
Norm, I do believe that he tried to go around the answer because he knows that, it's his loyalty to Trump, right? Trump has been saying that.
Well, that's a presumption. I think he said Biden had the most electoral votes.
He said, I believe he had the most electoral votes.
And in that sentence, who is the he?
We know what he's talking about.
It's Biden, right? Okay, great. So case closed. Well, I'm glad we resolved that. Great. So that's it. So there's no theater about it.
No.
No. He couldn't disagree with Patty now?
He couldn't specify who he meant. I believe he got the most electoral votes. He didn't say he won. He said, I believe he got the most electoral
votes. That's who wins. The person who gets the most electoral votes wins the election, obviously.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and keep
You should tell Trump that. Because he thinks he won, even though he had less electoral votes.
You refused to answer a basic question about who won a presidential election. No, but you asked to lead America's intelligence community.
Lydia, that's kind of embarrassing and maybe a little concerning if, intelligence is what he wants to have the job doing. If he can't just state a fact, how can he do that other job?
He'd been asked, I think, 3 times at that point, and he did mince words. I would like to just say yes and then put an end to the discussion. There's a lot of theatrics at these kind of hearings. John Ossoff got his soundbite, and that question. So to me, it's theatrics. I do have to say, it's funny.
By the way, Soren, because you went here the past maybe 2 days, I'm having some
glad to have Jake Clayton and Todd Lance who are infinitely qualified for these jobs. And I think at the end of the day, it's a question: do you want Jake Clayton or do you want Bill Pulte? I actually think that the two people that were on the Hill today. Wait, hold on. The two people that were on the Hill. I know you're trying to get a social media clip, Charles, but Sabina was starting to talk. I know you're trying to get your social media clip. I answered your question already, but I'm also not here to answer to you. So,
I just told you that because I really appreciate. I'm sorry. I really appreciate you lecturing me about what I'm here to do because I'm here because Abby Show invited me here, and I've been in journalism for a very long time. In fact, I came through New York Times the year you were born. So I suggest that you choose a lane that is your own and stay in it, and don't lecture me because I won't be lectured by a child. Thank you.
All right, look. So I think to what Lydia was saying about these people being qualified, I would disagree that these are qualified individuals. I think what you saw on the Hill were two people that are quite grossly not qualified for the offices that they're seeking and will do the bidding to the point that you're making. They're supposed to serve the American people. The Attorney General is meant to be a check on the administration, on the president, and it's meant to be objective and serving the public. And what you saw today, even when Todd Blanche slipped up and said, I'm the president's lawyer, you're actually not. You're actually the lawyer, the Attorney General for the public. And so I think what was displayed on Capitol Hill today, yes, you're right. They're worth theatrics, but they weren't wrong. I mean, facts are facts. I mean, who won the election in 2020? Is this is the sky blue? I mean, that is a very easy question that could have been answered, and yet there was a struggle. So I do think you have unqualified people up there. I do think the Senate ultimately probably rallies around these two individuals.
I would say that on the Clayton issue, there are people who. Our friend Ellie Honig in the last hour made a very compelling case that he is not qualified.
Look, I agree that the Attorney General should not curry favor for an individual, but adhere to the Constitution. I think most of us at the table would probably agree with that. But as it pertains to Todd, I think it's hard to say he's not qualified. The guy was at Southern District of New York, moved up through the ranks. Ellie Honig actually worked with him. The current Attorney General for New York, Alvin Bragg, worked with him as well. So it's okay to disagree. I'm going to give you the room for that.
The funny question here, because Cornyn has offered the same objection to all of them. Carrick, to Bundy, and now to Blanche, which is he's saying, I need to make sure that you can tell me that the DOJ will be independent of the president.
That's why I said though, Charles.
I do have to make one important point. This is a man who said that his administration and he are at war with the judiciary. That's a terrible thing to have said. Nobody should be at war with the judiciary. There are three co-equal branches of government, as we know. He also has called judges rogue. He's also criticized their opinions in a way that's not appropriate. So he and his people have been disrespectful and lied to the court, such that there's no longer a presumption of regularity, which means that judges no longer believe DOJ lawyers. 16,000 people have left the DOJ since this man got here because they worked on cases that the president thinks were wrongly brought against him. So they were just summarily fired.
Let me just play another interaction. He was asked about his comments about the January 6th pardons by a senator, and I'm going to play what he said at the hearing today and what he actually said in an appearance that was being questioned about. Listen.
And you bragged that bringing justice for violent rioters meant that every one of them was either pardoned or had their sentence